is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
JJ Wang, I hate fantasy football. I loathe it. I despise it. And I discovered why. I've been sour all day.
I'm sure you have been, buddy.
I sabotaged myself. I have one rule.
I agree with you 100%.
One rule.
I looked at your roster, and this is the first thing I noticed, right? Like, I looked at your roster, and I noticed I don't want to be the bearer of bad news or spoil. Can I go ahead and say what I saw first?
I'll go for it.
All right, so you went for the new hotness for something that at least has been scoring points all year, and you started KJ Osborne over Gabriel Davis, and I just can't believe you did that, man. And that was a ballsy move, and I wouldn't have
it cost me. I lost by 3 points. I broke I have one rule. I told my wife, I said, I'm more sour today because everything I do, I find some way to sabotage myself, and it's everything. It's not something like literally Gabe Davis, he's being at like single digits. I'm like, okay, I might need a couple points here. But the one rule I have is I set my lineup the night before the game, and barring injury, I am not allowed to change it. So I'm sitting in my in-laws' house, nothing else better to do, and I'm like, switch it out. And I did myself in. If I had not done, I almost played Isaiah Hodgkins, which would have been okay, and I wouldn't be complaining, and my one roll would have been okay. But no. I played KJ Osborne thinking, dude can get more than 3.5 points. Nope, apparently not. Oh, I'm so, and
at least we could say, at least you could say to yourself, you've got nobody to blame
but myself.
But yourself. It's not
there
like
is one person in all my other leagues I want to blame. His name is TJ freaking Hawkinson. That guy can poop.
It's not like the other guy's team played all that well.
No, he was terrible.
Yeah, you just gave him an opportunity and he took it and you blew it, man. Sorry.
Dude, I've been so sorry. I'm sitting there, I was like, great, because it was just Rachaad White. And Rachaad White did nothing until Leonard Fournette pulled himself out of the game at the goal line. If he hadn't done that, boom, I would have won. But nope. Yeah, I'm so sorry. That's the best team I've ever had in my entire life. And I need Mike Williams tonight. So I got to root for Mike Williams, one of my least favorite players, to get me 11 points so I can knock off your brother-in-law. But enough about me. The key thing is here, guys, have a strategy. Don't break with it. If you have a pattern of things that help you to not mess up things, do it. I told my wife, I said, yes, my rule is, I made it a couple years ago, and it's made me less anxious on Sunday mornings as far as what I should do. I set my teams the night before, and I got to set it there. But yeah, so if you've listened to our diatribe, we're the Fantasy Couriers. Hit us up anywhere and everywhere. This is our last week of 2 shows. We'll put updates on when our 1 show will come out, depending upon life and kids' sports and kids' events and things coming up during the off season. But we don't stop. Keep hanging out. We'll be talking about, usually we spend January reviewing the year, looking a little bit forward. Then JJ Wang will get some of his college football prowess in through the next few months. Then we'll hit the draft and then jump right into the next year, and then get all bitter again because our teams poop the bed or somebody does it as we move forward. But today we have a brand new segment ready for you. This segment is hot off the press. This segment is called Kudos and Kudos.
Yeah, I just didn't like the direction that the booyahs and the boo-yous were going. I feel like it had to be changed up. I feel like the kudos is more the direction I wanted to go. It's more of a recognition instead of like a booyah. Booyah typically means like something like really, really good, extraordinary or something like that. So I'm going to go with this. And I feel like it's only right to give my first kudos to the legend of Sam Darnold. He's back. He's a starter. He's a starter in the NFL. He was actually kind of productive yesterday, right?
Yeah, if the Cardinals hadn't messed up, they'd be in first place, right?
That's true.
Team's been playing good since then. So yeah, I my thoughts on Sam Darnold, but right now I can't say anything bad about him. He's winning. Yeah.
All right. Hopefully he gets his shot. Continue this on next year. My next guy, this guy I didn't even know was even on the team. I just heard today and I was like, who even got the ball? And that's T.Y. Hilton. kudos for T.Y. Hilton playing for the Cowboys, still rocking in the NFL, man. I didn't even know he was on the team.
I mean, what does that say about Odell that they decided to get the shell of T.Y. Hilton to play for them for his whopping one catch on one target, but he got 52 yards, which is more than K.J. Osborne had, and but yeah, to say what does that say about Odell's future? I don't know.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's been back and forth. I've heard multiple rumors, but yeah, just kudos to you for still playing. Hey, I had no idea. My next one is this guy just popped up again. That's Trenton Irwin. Kudos to Trenton Irwin. I think it's pretty much solidified like his spot on the team next year, right?
Does that mean that Taylor Boyd is done, or what do you think?
If you're keeping like four or five wide receivers, I mean, he's probably got the roster spot. I mean, who knows? Tyler Boyd's been up and down with injury. He might have, this guy is kind of old though, so you never know. But it's a good story. So kudos to you, bud.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd use him because I figured I couldn't use him in surefire ways to a touchdown anymore because he's done too much recently.
Yeah, I mean, he's killing it at the moment. So my first kudos, I feel like it's only natural to go with the Wilsons time too. Who's the worst Wilson right now?
It's Zach because he's not going to get to play next week.
Wilson shouldn't get to play next week.
Yeah, but they have 200 million reasons why he's going to get to play for a couple weeks, and I really, what I'd love to find out. I would love and hate it all at the same time. I would love to find out that it's Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett did something to Russell Wilson, and then all of a sudden, new coach just come in, and we have vintage Russell Wilson, and that's what it was. Like, that would be magnificent to hear, but they're both terrible. I was joking in one of my leagues, like the most active in one of my leagues was our dumpster ball game. I have a dumpster bowl game with a dude. We're scoring 170 points, like highest scores in the league. Both of our teams are good. He had Russell Wilson as his quarterback and still put up 170. That's how good our teams were this week. But I was like, wow, it looks like Baker Mayfield scored more points than Russell Wilson this week. He's a stud.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy how bad both of those guys are. But yeah, $250 million. Good luck with that mess. And this guy, I got DeAndre Swift, man. A big kudos to you. I mean, you were like a RB1 coming into the season. Now going into next season, where is he drafted now?
He's got to be a top 8 running back, at least by youth, maybe 6 by youth. You're looking at youth. Youth is what goes into dynasty early season. So we're gonna look down.
How many people are just left with a bad taste in their mouth and are just going to refuse to draft this guy? Maybe drop down a little lower. So I mean, we're like maybe getting like 12? Swift, maybe like 12 to 15 RB range, maybe.
I have, without looking at my numbers, I mean, it's he's gonna look different on dynasty and redraft. So my brain just went to dynasty, and I thought he'd be higher. Redraft probably around 10. I mean, you're still looking at a young running back who's doing. People, when we draft, we always screw ourselves because we look at what they did the last couple weeks of the season. He's playing good now.
I mean, look at that.
Everything else.
Look at that great running back class that was DeAndre Swift. I mean, not good. Dobbins. I mean, still up in the air.
What about the stud we're going to talk about later?
Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he's injured. I mean, it's crazy how that happens. But my last guy is DeAndre Hopkins. Rough night. Didn't even score a whole point in a lot of leagues. So are you worried about Hopkins next year? If it's
no. He's not going to have Trace McSorley throwing him the ball next year. If he has anybody not named Trace McSorley threw the ball 45 stinking times. Can you believe that? No. In other words, get Greg Dortch next week if you need a guy to play. But yeah, or could it be that the Buccaneers? I didn't look closely at it because I was so bitter by this point to really pay a lot. And the game was terrible. I mean, this was an awful game. Like, neither of these teams deserve to be on an 8:00 game on a Sunday night. It was so bad. But I don't think so because he gets peppered by Murray, and I'm not worried about him.
What if Murray doesn't come back to mid-season next year, something like that?
Right now, everything I'm hearing, he's going to come back early season. So I'm not. It's not a thought. We'll talk about that. We'll know more probably May OTAs start popping up. But right now I'm saying Murray's there game 1. He's not going to run as much. It means he passes more.
Yeah, well, that means his fantasy value goes down, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure his fantasy value is going to be plunging.
All right. Well, on to the next segment here. A little pleasure and pain. First guy I'm going to bring up. I have a real rocky relationship with this guy, but he's really helping me out at the moment. And I need it to continue next week. But we all know what this guy can do to you, and if he does it to me again, I would be highly upset. And that's Dak Prescott. He's playing really well right now against the Tennessee team that is struggling. He can't have a bad game, right? But the first half of this game, he did not look good at all.
Well, I mean, the good news for him is that Malik Willis, who we both have loved, looks terrible. Like it's not even like I don't know what like I'm sad because I thought he'd be decent. I mean, he got his running game, so maybe he's gonna have a Justin Fields type year. But
let's talk about Dak here, man.
but the point is, with Malik and them doing that, Dak might have less opportunities because they're gonna run the ball and it's gonna kill the clock. So while I think Dak will have a decent game next week, I think it's going to be capped. Just it's one of those things where like you just don't have enough time in a game that they'll score and then bam, 6 minutes later, the Titans go 30 yards but they still win 6 minutes later.
Hopefully Tennessee has a solid run defense that's going to surprise some people.
Man.
All right, so next guy. So I'll throw two guys in here. Since man. My first guy is Gardner Minshew. Does Minshew have like a chance to be a starter somewhere next year? He should, right? So.
You would think he would in the NFL, but with 3, maybe 4 starting quarterbacks coming out of the draft, I think he's capped. He might get a chance to compete with one of the rookies to be a lame duck quarterback, but where's he gonna go? Like,
okay. So is he the best backup in the league?
No. Who did we figure out was the other week that's going to be one of the greatest backups in the league? I brain fart on who it is. He's going to be a top 5 best backup. I'd love to have him as a backup. I think he's gonna get one of those normal Philadelphia backup contracts. I bet because they always pay their backups well.
All right, real quick. What about Baker? Is he the starter for the Rams next year?
No, they paid too much to Matt Stafford.
What if Matt Stafford retires? He's struggling, man.
Hey, Stafford said he's not retiring. So as with Murray, I mean, if Stafford retires, yeah, Baker's their starting quarterback next year.
All right.
That's all I got to say about that.
All right, a little pain here. I know this is going to be painful. We haven't brought him up in a few weeks. We've been, I've been nice. He's been average. But that's Tua versus the Pats. Not really very good yesterday. He had those 3 big time interceptions, bad interceptions, if you ask me. Bad interceptions. That's not very accurate. Tyreek Hill, just so you know, that wasn't very accurate.
No, well, it wasn't the accuracy. What it was, he wasn't reading what was happening is they're all timing patterns. So those balls were where they were supposed to be, but he was missing the safeties and the corners that were right there in the spot. So he put him where he was supposed to. He just missed the defense like a numbskull. Up until that point, his day was great.
Up until the
last 3.
I don't know about great. Yeah.
310 yards.
Those interceptions were
terrible,
dreadful.
Those were his last 3 passes. Literally, his last 3 passes were those 3 interceptions. Like
they were bad. I don't care. They were bad passes. They were
nowhere near Christmas. Like my Christmas.
They were nowhere near any offensive player, and that is a bad pass. Where's Tua next week versus the Pats?
He's going to throw for 350 and 5 touchdowns just because everybody's so sour on him.
That's not happening.
It's in New England, too, so it's going to be a cold. I mean, he did play really good in the cold versus Buffalo, so maybe comparable to Buffalo, which is 17 points. That's what he played good last week.
Are you confident in giving Tua $250 million?
What's your other option when you're going to have the 23rd pick? Baker.
All right, just limited.
I mean, he's got another year, but I mean,
Gardner Minshew.
It's going to be it's going to be one of those things where a lot of us, you're stuck where you are. I mean, last week we said the same thing about Justin Herbert, and probably till people listen to this, Justin Herbert's going to throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns or something.
I hope so. All right.
I only need a little bit of Mike Williams, just enough. That's all I need.
All right. On to running backs. We got the pleasure. This guy just came out of nowhere, even though he has been playing decent, and that's Cam Akers. over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. Probably not a lot of people probably started him with confidence. But going into next week, are people going to be starting him with overconfidence?
Oh yeah, I mean Cam
But
Akers. If you look,
you're
I'm
still
starting him.
starting him, though, right?
I started him in my dumpster bowl because, well, it's a dumpster bowl, so your team has Cam Akers if you're in the dumpster bowl. And I should have, if I'd have started him in one of my championship quarterfinals, I would have been pretty stinking close because this is the team where I have like most points in the league and most points against, and now I'm out. But he, if you look at him, he's been going for solid yards, probably low end 2 is where you would think low end 2, high end 3, and he was going against Denver. I had no hope in Cam Akers. I probably had Cam Akers at probably 25 or something. I don't know. I didn't even look at my
I mean,
rankings.
I was telling people to start Denver defense.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would have too. I mean, it's Baker and Cam Akers, 2 guys, and then both of those guys, I wish I'd have started. You know, I have Baker somewhere. I picked him up and I didn't start him, but I had Baker against me a couple times. But yeah, Cam Akers, great googly moogly. I hope that's what's coming because if that's what's coming,
I
then
hope so.
what my team that got eliminated this week is going to kill next year. Jamar Chase, Cam Akers, Javonte Williams, and Josh Allen, and Travis Kelce.
Yeah, it'd be nice for that me holding on to him for so long.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, I hope so. I hope for the kid. I mean, it'd be a good it'd be a good story to show kids how you can have a disagreement with somebody like him and McVay had the falling out and how they came back and they said, "Hey, we're going to mend fences and just kill it." That would be kind of a cool story.
Hopefully. Next two guys like competition. Going into next year, we got Devin Singletary and we got James Cook. Going into next year, which one of these running backs would you rather have?
Neither, because they're gonna be a smart football team. They're running the team well, and they're both gonna play, and they're both gonna do this. But it's not gonna be cold all year, so you will want to have them both in December when it's 25 degrees, and then Josh Allen will ball out and throw a lot earlier in the season.
But could it get to the point where you might want both of these guys if maybe Josh Allen isn't running as much?
It's one of those things. Would you rather have 2 parts of a good committee or 1 part of no committee? Kind of deal. So, I mean, they're guys you're going to want to have. They'll probably get drafted, like 18, 19, probably almost back to back, maybe 20, somewhere right in there.
Yeah, I mean, they both got to be flex plays at least.
Yeah, and that's right. I'd put him as an RB3. But it's an RB3 where you hold your breath and hope that that's the one that gets the run that week because literally a 12 and 11, Singletary 12, Cook 11. It's split right down the middle, and that's, I mean, as a pro team, genius. As fantasy, oh crap, I don't want to deal with that.
All right. So I'm going to do my pains here for combo of wide receiver running back because I didn't realize they were all on the same team. And then I'll just go ahead and throw in like a little topping of the quarterback as well because
they're the whole team under the bus. They're
terrible. It was all crap. And that is the Oakland Raiders of Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams really helped you out. If he would have just had
2 more
points, he would have won. And then David Carr also dreadful. I mean,
one of these days you'll get Derek's name right. I know you will.
God damn it. I mean, it was just so bad. They've just been disappointing just all year, man.
A bigger disappointment of a team this year for you. Like for me, it's Denver, but Denver or the Raiders?
Oh, the Raiders, because I didn't think Denver was going to be that good. You was high on Denver. You was high on Russell Wilson. I was high on Derek.
Good job.
Right? Yeah. So I mean, it's the Raiders for me.
Devontae Adams this week, he is my poop of the week. Like even more so than my decision.
I mean, that's not really a poop though. I mean, that's something more. I mean,
that's like cha-cha-cha diarrhea. Does he get diarrhea?
I mean, that's
playing for the Raiders and you play football, cha-cha-cha diarrhea. I don't know, but that was a big kick in the butt. Like I started him and Waller at least got some catches in tight end premium. Didn't kill me, but Adams, like Derek Carr couldn't hit the back end of a wall. I mean, it's cold, but still, like I mean, Tua did good in the cold. So Derek Carr, come on, do something in the cold if he's better than Tua in your book.
I think both of them are bad in my book. But
the Raiders, I don't get that team at all.
All right, so going over to
these last 2.
Going over to the wide receivers, I'm going to end it on a super, 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 super high note. So I'm going to go with the lesser guy first, and that's Isaiah Hodgins. I'm really coming on late. Still only 24. This is his second year. He'll be going into his third year next year with the possibility of being the Giants' actual wide receiver 1, depending on what they draft. I mean, he's looked good. I don't know if Daniel Jones is going to be his quarterback, but I mean, something might be there.
At 8-6, Jones is the quarterback because they're not going to draft anybody in the first
That's
couple of
true.
rounds.
That's true.
Isaiah Hodgins, I talked to him a couple weeks ago. I had picked him up everywhere. Guess how many times I started him this week?
0, probably.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh, and I almost started him over KJ Osborne, but I didn't. I told my brother-in-law, I said, should I start Isaiah Hodgins? He's been pretty good. He's been killing it. But
should have started Gabe Davis over.
I should have started anybody over KJ. I could have started you over KJ Osborne. But yeah, Hodgins. I remember watching the Giants game a few weeks ago, and they were highlighting how he's a Dabo guy. He came from Buffalo, so he's a guy. He must have been a guy that Dabo liked, and Dable, I guess name.
Whatever.
Liked, and so I think he's going to be solid there. I don't know Slayton's contract. Richie James, I don't think he's going to. I don't think, but Hodgins, I think he could be their new hotness.
Heck, yeah, maybe. So the last guy, this is really making me brought a smile to my face. Really helps me out a lot, and that's Dak Prescott's teammate and wonderful wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb. But all honesty, he's played really well over the last couple weeks. At almost 30 points this week. He's climbed his way up to 6 overall wide receiver on the season. Way better than where he started. Thought he would be a little better. It's kind of where I had him. Thought he would end up. But I mean, are you in on CeeDee Lamb right now? It's like this is CeeDee Lamb is like that guy behind Jefferson and Chase.
If you watch, anybody who's watching the video saw me counting fingers. I was trying to figure out where
AJ Brown.
What?
With AJ Brown.
He might be 3. I'm trying to think because I think AJ Brown probably had his career year this year. To be honest.
Speaking of AJ Brown, I also want to give a shout. Devonta Smith playing really well over the last couple weeks.
So that could be why I think CeeDee Lamb's ahead of AJ Brown because there's no competition for him right as of this moment. I mean, Jerry's going to draft a receiver because that's what Jerry does, but there's no competition. Michael Gallup's fell on his freaking face. Maybe he plays better next year, but is he? I mean, Cooper Kupp's going to be drafted way too late and probably have a really good year and help some teams next year. But I mean, really, you're looking at young receivers. It's those two, then a giant gap, and then probably CD by himself, and then AJ Brown category would probably be. I mean, Waddle and Tyreek in there. I mean, they're probably right there. They're probably in the AJ Brown chunk because they can
put Waddle with it. Yeah, Waddle with the AJ Brown. Yeah,
and then Tyreek would. It depends if what your fear of age is. Those are your top 6 receivers next year. I would have to say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
I'm with you.
All right. Well, that makes me feel good about myself. Yeah, that ended on a high note since it's Christmas. It was a good Christmas. One of the better Christmases, in a long time.
And now a message from our favorite sponsor.
Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Now that we are in season, they offer even more fantasy sports options. You can choose to play 4 to 6 round draft contests with up to 10 people. You can even create your own private draft room.
And that's not all. Underdog also offers pick-em fantasy contests where you decide if players will go higher or lower than a listed stat line, from touchdowns to yards to interceptions and many more. It's a fun way to show your fantasy prowess. Sign up now with the code Couriers, and they'll double your first deposit up to $100 in bonus cash.
And just in case you missed that, when you make your first deposit of $10 or more, deposit $100, get $100 free.
And with their slick mobile app and user-friendly website, you'll have no problem jumping in and drafting your squad or making your best picks.
So join Underdog today, and don't forget to use the code Couriers. A link is in the notes of the podcast.
Now back to the podcast.
Let's move it on to your favorite part of the show here, bud.
Surefire waste of a touchdown.
I'm gonna make them nice and quick. I liked your segments this week. They were better than some of these wastes of a touchdowns we got going on here. But let's look at those terrible New England Patriots. They just look blah. We were making fun of Mac Jones all day Sunday.
Bailey Zappi for life. Yes.
You know Mac Jones is there the next 10 years because Belichick wants to be right. But we had a 5-yard pass from Mac Jones to somebody who we thought was dead. You'd figured, probably a running back. Nah, maybe Jacoby Myers, who he likes. Oh, no. Out from the dead. We haven't heard this name in a while. Kendrick Bourne. We know he's a decent player, but no one played him this week. 120% guarantee, which makes that a
surefire waste of a touchdown. And also, while we're on the Patriots, I didn't get to announce it, but Ramondre Stevenson was a surefire waste of a day. Sorry, go ahead.
even without Harris. Like I was like, dude, he's gonna murder. No,
Yeah, man.
dunk it. Let's go to the Carolina Sam Darnolds. We have a 7-yard
Yes.
7-yard touchdown run by the. Oh, look, Chuba kill it. Chuba in that first quarter. There's another name we could toss out. Or Foreman, both of them.
Yeah.
Holy moly, that team. But no, the 7-yard sneaky run goes to rookie Raheem Blackshear out of Virginia Tech briefly. But yeah, that's definitely a
surefire waste of a touchdown. I mean, Carolina's still fighting, man. They're trying. At least they're trying, right?
71-yard touchdown run for the San Francisco 49ers. My Christian McCaffrey is looking solid. Nope. One of our favorite names in the league, Ray McLeod III, with a 71-yard touchdown. And if you started him, you are a fantasy genius. But that really is a
surefire waste of a touchdown. And before you go any farther, I want to give a big thank you to Kyle Shanahan for going on it on 4th and goal at the 3-yard line and letting McCaffrey score that touchdown. That was huge. Much appreciated. Not a surefire waste of a touchdown.
Didn't help me. I mentioned him earlier, and there were 3 touchdowns wasted for me that don't count for this, but TJ Hawkinson, we'll have to talk about him in the offseason where we think he is, but if he was somewhere that I didn't need him to be, he murdered me. But anyway, so let's stay on the tight ends. You would think a 1-yard touchdown pass from Aaron Rodgers, beautiful catch. It had to be Christian Watson, who was getting everything until he went down at halftime. Alan Lazard, who we both like, no. Oh, he loves himself some Randall Cobb. No, it was a pretty nice catch. He had 2 actually good catches. 1-yard pass from Mercedes, 85-year-old man Lewis. That's a
surefire waste of a touchdown. That guy's been in the league for 15 years, it feels like?
I think he's only like 30. I got to look him up, but
it feels like it's been for
he had some nice catches. We have a trifecta. You paid so little attention to this cruddy, terrible game that you were like, who is this dude? I'd heard of him. I knew the name because it's probably one of my they're my Houston Texans. That'd be the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff had 3 touchdown passes, a 3-yard pass, a 7-yard pass, and a 1-yard pass. And we know Amon-Ra was no. Oh, Chark, no. Who's Jamison Williams? We thought he was going to be good. Nope, not him either. Do you understand? Nope. Oh, my goodness. Shane Zylstra with 3 touchdowns for the Detroit Lions. Those are definitely 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3.
Surefire waste of a touchdown. Yeah, I completely missed that. Yeah, completely missed that.
Okay, that's all I got because the games were pretty terrible on Sunday as far as scoring anyway because of the cold and also names scored. The players we thought were going to score scored. So that's all I got for you this week. So give us some wisdom heading into championship week and let's get out of here.
Yeah, so Merry Christmas to everybody, and I feel like I'm just going to stick with the theme of the show. Don't get fancy, man. Just stick with what brought you to the show, and 9 times out of 10, it'll get you to where you need to go. This isn't the time to be playing games. This isn't the time to be tinkering. Like, stick with what got you there, and you'll win, man. So as always, trust yourself. And most importantly, trust the process.